Hey guys, what's going on? It's the Block Bull right about now, bringing you the latest episode to the channel. Now we're going to dive straight into it now with the charts. Before we do, actually, let's just take a quick look at Crypto with Bubbles. So I've actually created a watch list now over on Crypto Bubbles because it's just easy to sort of get an overview of what's going on. So on the weekly, these are all cryptos that are basically my sort of top picks. And, I'm not invested in all of them at the moment, but I'm looking to, reinvest some profits once we do get these sort of impulses that we're looking at, particularly from Velo and Gala next week. Okay, on the daily, we are red across the board here. So that's, that goes for all cryptos ultimately. So, let's just filter through now on sort of trading view over here. So Velo's up 3.6% on the day. So we did have that big sell-off there at the top of this sort of resistance that's playing out at the moment. So we could bring it up here. And you can see where we've wicked through here, on the weekly. We've got that rejection. Obviously, Sunday, Monday, we've got a new weekly candle forming now. So it's all green. So I do expect us to trade up here gradually towards the end of the, towards next week anyway, because we are anticipating a slow grind really up until the Fed meeting. So this is what the market is all waiting for now. So we are literally a week away from the sort of opening meeting now with January, and then the Fed, Jerome Powell, he'll obviously deliver his speech on the 29th. So I expect the market to get going there. Initially, I was looking for the markets to be bearish, and with the anticipation of Donald Trump pumping the markets, I thought we'd almost be looking at a sort of blow off top, maybe like a really big sort of rally, and then a sell off a week later once the Fed meeting does take place. However, we've not had that pump yet. So in my view, the Fed meeting is going to be really, really bullish. Yeah, that is simply because we didn't see a pump with Donald Trump. So it's simple as that, guys. And this is the thing, these crypto landscapes are very fast, dynamic markets. Yeah, so they move. Like Velo, for instance, like here, we absolutely capitulated. I was looking at a breakout ultimately, and then it absolutely capitulated. Yeah, if you're looking and accounting for the wicks, you're talking like 40% retracements, which is absolutely massive. It's almost half of your capital just gone like that, within the blink of an eye. So this is Velo anyway. Velo is still looking really good. Like I say, I do expect some sort of continuation to this sort of resistance. Then what I'd be looking to do is, if we mark in the sort of, again, it'd have to be a Monday, 27. So that's the sort of closest Monday. That's a Fed meeting sort of week, if you will. I can't put it on the 28th, 29th. Again, it has to be a Monday. But next week, I expect us to get up here by the end of the week, hopefully around 3.5 cents. And then we can start challenging some of these fib levels now. So this is your sort of first sort of target. And if it was to do it from current price, you're talking, 278%, almost 300%. So that'd be a 4x. Yeah, 100% 2x, 200% 3x, 300% 4x. So you're talking near enough 4x from current price action. And that's a conservative target. That's a 618. And this is the sort of target that you'd be looking at, basically taking profits if that's what you want to do. If you're more that's if you're risk averse. If you want to, bite the bullet and go for the next one, 786, you can go for that. So you're looking at more like a 13x, 12, 13x here. And that would put you at the fib level, and that would come out around 35, 36 cents is where I'd be looking at taking maybe partial profits. Again, I don't know how big your crypto bags are. If you've got small crypto bags, personally, I'd be looking at running those up and taking more risk. If you've got large sums of money in your portfolio, again, you want to take the risk off as best as you can, because I do expect these to sort of roll over and correct as we do move up in this sort of bull cycle. Yeah, there's still going to be healthy corrections, which is important to maintain structure. Yeah, so we don't fall any further. That's Velo. Velo looking really good in my opinion. Let's just have a quick look at Bitcoin again, because this obviously dictates the sort of movement in the market. So we've had this sort of roof upon this sort of house, if you will, and we've, currently printing a chimney. Now, initially, we did have a few fake outs in this purple supply and demand zone around sort of 91, 92 K with Bitcoin. Now the risk was we're looking at capitulating, and that would have been the trigger for the sort of altcoin market. We was preempting this order block to get filled here around sort of 70 to 72k. So that would have been approximately 30% correction, which historically Bitcoin has always done, even in bull markets. Okay, so it's not played out the way, you know, a lot of people was anticipating. So this is why it's important to keep in tune with the markets. But for me, the big one is Gala right now. This is a perfect sort of cup and handle. Absolutely perfect. And this is what I'm worried about missing, because I don't want to miss a full year of basically forming the cup, and we've been forming the handle since sort of beginning of December. So it'll be 2 months by the time we get to the Fed meeting. So, you know, a good 8, 9 months of forming the cup here. Again, what I can do is I could probably insert it for you guys. Let's have a look. We'll bring this arc out here. We'll pull that down there. So this is like the cup, you know, just a rough sort of sketch, if you will. And then you've got the handle coming off it now. So we're at this red line, this sort of fib level. And you can see the current sort of green sort of weekly candle printing out here. So, you know, worst case scenario, we're going to, you know, maybe tap sort of 30 cent, but I'll be expecting a wick. But ultimately, we are going to hit 28th, 29th when the Fed meetings do come. And, you know, I'm looking at some massive gains. Obviously, the price has changed, so I'm going to have to bring these measurements up now in line with current price action, because we've actually traded up ever so slightly. Didn't mean to move that by accident. So anyway, I'll just undo that. So these are the sort of gains on the table at the moment. So you got 360% gain, and that will take you up to the 618. And then you've got around approximately still 800%. So that'll be a 9x on your capital up to the 786. So that'll be around 30 cents. So them two will be decent sort of levels to take profits. I do expect us some sort of correction along the way. So whether or not we actually get up to this sort of fib, then correct. So that'll be some sort of like a 60% correction to this fib level. You know, ultimately we could actually rally onto 786 and then get up to there, and then we'd be looking at a sort of 80% correction. So I don't know which one of those is going to play out. Again, guys, this is all probabilities, but these are key levels that I'm showing you guys to look out for, yeah? And then you can make an educated sort of decision based on your own portfolio. Okay, so Gala, in my view, is it's a must. Yeah, let's take a look at. We could take a look at XRP. XRP, I've been slicing and dicing this so many different ways. So, you know, the one way of slicing XRP is with a sort of megaphone structure. Yeah, so we could see some sort of bounces. Again, what we'll do is move this to the next Fed meeting. So that's around there. So we've only got another week or week at best before the next Fed meeting. So, you know, XRP here could potentially looking at an early sort of breakout. Yeah, possibly. You know, there's so many ways to look at it. Whereas if we go down onto the daily, let's have a look now. You could say we was looking at a sort of ascending. Well, you could say it was in a sort of bull flag here. You know, if you're looking at this sort of way, so many different ways to slice and dice this price action, like I say. And then ultimately, what you could do is you could even make it into some sort of, you know, bull pennant again. Yeah, not quite a bull pennant, but you could have a sort of you could have like an ascending sort of wedge, if you will. So again, there's so many ways to slice and dice it, which is it's a little bit tricky with XRP to tell where it's going at the moment. However, it is strongly correlated with XLM. So if you're ever a little bit unsure with XRP, you know, just take a look at XLM to see what that's doing. In my view, XLM looks fantastic because it's clear where these sort of high closes are going in, yeah, on the daily. Perfect, yeah. And that point there, this apex again brings us out onto the Fed meeting Wednesday the 29th, yeah. Wednesday the 29th, FOMC meeting. Boom, yeah. And again, from the lows, we've got this wick down into the trend line. You know, we had a fake out. This is what happens. I hate crypto for this. This has fooled me half a dozen times, yeah. It gets me fucking every time because I'm anticipating a sort of breakdown in structure. I'm actually, you know, bearish at this point. And then, we end up trading inside in the wedge. So be very, very careful of trading with these fake outs, because what happens is you do get like negative and positive closes. And when I go over to Gala as well, this is what got me as well when I actually entered with my dry capital, and I probably lost a good 20% of my capital. Let's just go back to this is Gala here. So this is what caught me out here. So I started entering the market here. I saw this handle playing out. So I started entering the market. I was on a smaller time frame, like the 4 hour. I'm seeing a green candle here. And this is where I'm entering on the break, you know, anticipating a run up to this orange trend line. So that would have been If we take it from the sort of breakout, when it wants to click on it, we're looking at around 50, well, I'd say rounded up to 60% gain. And that was just to get to the brim of the cup. And then obviously we was looking at these sort of fib targets as well. So for me, that was a 300% gain, which is why I re-entered the market with my dry capital. And then what's happened is we basically rolled over having that fake out. So at the moment, I would say if my entry was around here, well, it's recovered quite a bit. So risk to reward, this is what I'm telling you guys. Even though I'm losing a little bit of money in the short term, I stand to make a lot of money, and it's just exactly like going swimming. Yeah, you go swimming, you're gonna get wet. Yeah, or if you're boxing, yeah, you're gonna get punched in the face. It's just the nature of the game. So unfortunately, you're never gonna catch a position where you trigger your entry and then it just runs. Yeah, how often is that going to happen? Probably 0.001% of the time. So, occasionally it might go a little bit in your favour and then it'll reverse. And then eventually you'll get the big move, the big breakout that you was anticipating. So, yeah, unfortunately I'm down slightly, but, I'm not down too much. Down here was down around 22%. So I lost, a lot of money. 20% is massive when you're dealing with large portfolios. But ultimately, we're recovering, and there's no cause concern at all because this is the most bullish structure in TA, 95% success rate. So, of course, I'm always, as soon as we break out this handle again, if I've got any dry powder left over, maybe 50 quid or something, I'll chuck it in because I'm literally on beans on sauce now because we're all in on these markets now, anticipating a massive move. So yeah, that's Gala. Let's get back to XLM anyway, because it's really interesting. Like I was saying, heavily tied to XRP, which is why it's so important. Got the apex on the 29th of January, so this is going to be a massive move. Yeah, so we made loads of these bull pennants with XRP. Yeah, XLM is doing the exact same thing now. So what I like to do is just literally measure bottom to top of the sort of this sort of move here. Yeah, you can even account for the wick if you want. If you want to be conservative, let's just go with the sort of daily closes here. So, some people, what they like to do is account for the pole as well of the flag. So, what I mean by the pole of the flag is if we drag this down, very sensitive. If we drag this all the way down, so this is like the pole of the flag. And what a lot of people, a lot of TAs do is they'll plant that at the apex. Yeah, so you could see basically XLM going a lot higher, and that would put you around sort of $2.90. Yeah, that is a possibility. Yeah, I still think it's too early in the year. You might get those sort of big moves in sort of April, May time. Okay, but for me, I'm probably just going to remain conservative and just go with this sort of measurement instead. Yeah, this is what's played out on with XRP as well. So that would take you up to around, again, very, very sensitive. I'll be looking at about $1.20. Yeah, so in terms of current price action where we're trading here, we're looking at about 180% move. And if it was to do this massive sort of flagpole here, you're talking 500. If conspiracy theorists out there, not quite 589, but 568, 569. That'll take you up to about $2.90. So some massive gains there. XLM looks a beast, and it's easy to read as well. Yeah, there's no point trying to second guess XRP when you've got ultimately XLM, which is going to like run massively. Now I have been experimenting with XDC here. So initially, what I was projecting, this is one of the only sort of TAs that I was a little bit sort of bearish on, because initially I had this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern, yeah. And then what happens then is we'll be looking at rolling into sort of an A, B, C sort of correction. So this is what I was anticipating with XDC. Now, what I've tried to do is make this chart basically give a bullish scenario to see if the sort of micro sort of Elliott wave, 5 waves gets invalidated, where could we be heading? So I've actually created, again, this is just for illustration purposes. You guys can make your own judgment, but this could ultimately be a bigger 5-wave count. So I've gone with wave 1 here, wave 2. We could only be sort of retesting wave 1 here before we continue on wave 3. And people that know anything about Elliott wave theory, usually wave 3 is the biggest wave out of all 5 waves. Okay, so this is where all the money's made. So that would have us going up to, I would say, just shy of 50 cent. Simply because this wave 3 is usually double in length of wave 1. So there's no way of really doing it. So what I'm going to have to do is draw it once in there. So we're moving from the bottom. And then what I'd have to do is clone it again and put that on the end. So this could be a mammoth move, yeah. So wave 3 could be coming all the way up here. This is just, again, guys, I'm not going to get carried away with this. But this is something that could ultimately be playing out. Wave 4 could come down here. Wave 5 is subjective. So it's too early for me to start plotting this sort of 5th wave. Yeah. So this could go absolutely anywhere. Yeah. So again, we'll revisit wave 5. I'm not even going to put it in there because, I don't want people saying, "Oh, I thought Block Bull, you said it was going to this price." Yeah. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But ultimately, wave 4 would be coming back down here around 25th of sort of March. And that would be around that sort of date. So we could plot this sort of dip down 18th, 19th of March. So what we'll try and do is marry up the sort of TA with the fundamentals, with the news events. Yeah, big news events like the Fed meeting. So I could imagine something like this could possibly play out. Yeah, so something like that. We could, do you know what I mean? By early March, you could be at a $1. Yeah, so that's XTC is moving quick time. That would be about a 10x. Yeah, Gala's got about a 9x to go. Yeah, so there could be 9-10x's by March, is what I'm saying, before we do see a big correction. So, if it was to correct to the downside, let's get that off. Again, we'll just have to wait for this sort of wave 3 to play out, and then we can see the structure. But ultimately, I do expect it's coming down. So we're probably looking anywhere between 60 to 80% with altcoins when it does retrace. So it's not until I will be saying now, beginning of March, before we do look at any sort of corrections. That's just an educated guess. Obviously, there's not enough data in this sort of wave 3 yet to project. But again, guys, I'm just putting my 2 pence in there, let you know, guys, what I'm thinking. But yeah, make sure, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, share, subscribe. It always helps us out. It means I can continue posting this content for you to make educated decisions. It's not my duty to make the decisions for you. I just, illustrate to you guys what I'm seeing in the markets. But ultimately, let's hold the bag for the next week. I do expect a little bit of ping pong, a little bit of consolidation, not too much action. Then 28th, especially 29th, we get going next week, guys. So Wednesday next week, not this week, next week, we do have the Jerome Powell speech. So this is when I believe, all the cryptos are basically going to, pop, and, altcoin season is here, baby. So yeah, take it easy, guys. I've been a Block Bull. Block Bull is over and out.